ChatGPT said the Imperial scout ship, Narok 7, slowly entered the orbit of an old, forgotten planet. Its surface was dry and broken, covered in dust and dead oceans. To the Empire's records, this world was long dead. It was once called Earth, the home of a weak and lost species. Centuries ago, during the First Expansion War, the planet had gone silent after resisting the Empire. No life signals had been detected since then, but something felt strange now. The scanners picked up a faint energy source underground. It was weak, almost like a flicker. The Captain Varric narrowed his eyes and gave the order to send a small ground team. The landing crew touched down near what used to be a city, now just ruins of tall buildings and twisted metal. The air was thin, cold, but still breathable. Dust covered everything. No movement, no sound, only wind howling through broken windows. The soldiers walked slowly, scanning with their tools, weapons ready. One of them, a younger trooper named Keel, noticed strange marks on a wall. It looked like handprints. Human handprints. Fresh, he called it in, but the others laughed it off. This place is dead. Probably your imagination, one said, but Keel felt something watching them. They moved deeper into the ruins. Below a collapsed building, they found a hole like an old bunker. It was hidden well. The door had strange burn marks on it. Varric ordered it open. Inside, they found darkness. The lights on their helmets flickered for a second, as if something interfered with them. They entered slowly. Inside, the walls were covered with old tech-rusted panels, broken screens, and cables that still hummed softly. Then, in the corner, something moved. Keel pointed his rifle. "Hold," he shouted. A small figure stepped into the light. It was a child, a human child, skinny, covered in dirt, wearing torn clothes. His eyes were wide with fear. Didn't speak, just stared. Varric stepped forward slowly, confused and alert. "Who are you?" he asked. No answer. The child turned and ran down a narrow tunnel. Keel followed, calling out, "Wait, we won't hurt you." He turned a corner and then screamed. Oh. The others rushed in and found Keel's helmet on the ground, cracked open. His rifle was bent, but there was no blood, no body, just silence. Varric clenched his jaw and ordered a retreat, back to the ship. Now. But as they moved out, Derek hums went dead. Static filled their ears. One by one, the lights above flickered and died. The exit door slammed shut behind them. Back on the Narok 7, the crew watched the team's signals vanish from their monitors. Panic spread. "We've lost contact," an officer said. Varric's voice finally returned through static. "Do not come down." "Repeat. Do not." Then silence. Orbit Control tried to send a rescue drone, but it was shot down by something fast. Too fast. Not from the Empire. Not from this time. Far below, in the deepest ruins of the city, ancient machines came to life. Lights blinked. Screens flashed symbols. Somewhere an AI voice whispered in a cold tone, "Intruders detected. Defensive protocol activated." The child stood silently beside an old terminal. Behind him, shadows moved other humans. Older, tougher, their eyes glowing slightly. One of them touched the screen. A map of the stars appeared, with blinking red dots slowly turning green. A signal had been sent. From the edge of the galaxy, something answered. Back in space, a nearby Imperial station picked up the transmission. A message in a long-forgotten Earth language. No one could understand it, but the tone was clear. It was a warning. Varric's ship tried to leave orbit, but the engines wouldn't start. Every system was failing, one by one. It was as if something inside the planet was reaching out, disabling their controls. Then the sky above Earth shimmered. A shape appeared. At first, it looked like a shadow. Then it became clear. A ship, black, silent, old, but alive. It didn't belong to the Empire. It didn't belong to anyone the Empire had ever met. It moved without sound. No energy signature, no communication, but it locked onto the Narok 7. One blast of light, then the ship was gone. No explosion, no pieces, just gone. The Empire station sent a signal to High Command. "We have awakened something. Earth is not dead. requesting immediate backup, but no reply came. Something was jamming them. On the dead planet below, the human child looked up at the sky and smiled for the first time. A whisper came from the darkness behind him. They've come back, the black ships. And far above, more shadows began to appear in the stars. The dead world wasn't dead anymore. The Empire had made a mistake, a big one. The Empire could not believe what they saw. One of their strongest scout ships, Narok 7, had disappeared without a trace. No explosion, no signal, nothing left. It was as if the ship had been swallowed by the sky. High Command was shocked. Earth was marked as a dead world for over 300 years. Now it had destroyed an Imperial ship. That was not possible. A new mission was prepared. This time, they sent a larger Force-Heavy command cruiser, Torak Prime, with a full battalion of soldiers, drones and scientists. Commander Joras, a hard and proud officer, led the mission. He didn't believe in ghosts. "This is a tech problem, nothing more," he said. "We will scan the ruins, recover the data, and destroy any threats." When they arrived in orbit, they saw nothing. No black ship, no strange signals, no warning. Just the dry surface of Earth. Jorah sent down 3 dropships. One of them landed near the same ruins where Narok 7 had gone dark. The soldiers moved carefully this time. Scanners showed strange energy pulses underground, but no movement on the surface. Everything looked dead. Again, then they heard it. It's a sound like soft breathing. The air was still, but the sound was clear, as if something large was sleeping beneath the ground. It made the soldiers nervous. As they moved toward the bunker, one of the drones picked up movement. Human figure small. Fast ran across the rubble. Jorah's ordered pursuit. The soldiers chased the figure through collapsed streets and broken tunnels. Finally, they surrounded it. It was a girl, thin, covered in dirt, her hair long and messy. She was holding something that looked like a small machine, glowing blue. One soldier stepped forward to take it. The girl didn't fight. She looked up and spoke softly. "Do not wake them." The soldier paused. "Wake who?" he asked. But the girl stayed silent. Suddenly the ground shook. A shockwave hit the area, knocking some soldiers off their feet. From far below, a rumbling noise echoed through the ruins. The girl screamed and ran into the darkness. The team tried to follow, but the tunnel collapsed behind her. Joras was furious. "What is going on here?" he shouted. The scientists reported strange activity in the old systems under the city. Energy readings were growing. Machines that had been dead for centuries were turning on by themselves. Back on the cruiser, they picked up another signal. It was weak, broken, but clear enough. A voice human speaking in a lost language. Their translator struggled, but managed to pull out one sentence. "You left us. You forgot us. We did not forget you." The command center fell silent. Joras ordered a full search of the ruins. As more teams moved in, they found signs of human life. Hidden bunkers, farming systems, old tech still working, and people. Actual human survivors? They were not many, and they were not weak. Their eyes were sharp. Their bodies were thin but strong. They watched the soldiers without fear. They did not speak much. But one older man stepped forward when questioned. He looked straight at Joras and said in a heavy voice, "You should not have come. They are waking, the black ones." Joras ordered him taken for study. "I want answers," he told the science team. "Find out who these people are and how they survived." Scientists began running tests. The humans had strange changes. In their DNA's light upgrades, as if they had adapted to survive underground, in silence, in darkness. But that wasn't all. Some of them had implant-sold human-made technology still working. Then something happened. One of the science labs lost power. The guards inside vanished. The cameras showed nothing, just static, then silence. When a team went in to check, they found a single word written on the wall in Old Earth language: "Return." That night, the skies above Earth flickered again. Several black dots appeared, moving slowly, not fast, not loud, just present. Watching scanners failed to lock on. The AI systems on the cruiser began acting strange. Some refused orders. Others shut down. Then another signal arrived. This one was strong. It played in every system, every screen, every ear. It was the same voice again, calm, cold. Protocol rebirth. Phase 1 complete. Human presence confirmed. Panic started on the command deck. "What fleet?" someone asked. The answer came fast. In orbit near the dark side of the planet, giant shapes began to rise. Ships, black, sharp-edged, silent. Not Imperial, older, human-made, but bigger than any the Empire had ever built. Commander Joras stared at the growing fleet and whispered, "This planet, this species, was never dead." And far below, in the ruins, the human survivors lit old fires, gathered weapons from hidden vaults, and looked to the stars. One of them, a young boy holding a rifle too large for him, smiled. "They're back," he said. "The black ships." The Empire had come for a dead world, but Earth was not dead. It was waiting. Now, the wait was over. The Empire was in shock. The sky above Earth was now full of dark ships. These ships didn't answer hails. They didn't attack. They just waited, watching silently. Commander Joras gave the order to scan them, but the scans failed. No energy. Readings. No visible engines. It was as if the ships were made to hide from machines. Curial sensors, the best in the galaxy, were useless. Joras grew angry. "We're the Empire. We conquered hundreds of planets. We can't be scared by old machines," he shouted. But deep inside, even he was afraid. Meanwhile, the science team had made a new discovery deep under the Earth's surface. Hidden inside a collapsed building, they found a door. It was thick, made of metal stronger than Imperial steel. It was marked with strange symbols and an old flag red, white, and blue. The flag of Earth's past. They opened the door using plasma tools. Behind it was a massive underground vault. Inside, the walls were lined with machines, weapons, and giant screens. Most of the equipment was hundreds of years old, but somehow, still powered on. The scientists couldn't believe it. "This place has power." "It's been running for centuries," one of them said. "It's not broken. It's waiting." In the center of the room stood a large chair with a helmet connected to it. Wires ran from the helmet into the walls. Joras ordered one of the prisoners, old human man they had captured, to sit in it. The man smiled and sat down without fear. As soon as he wore the helmet, the machines came alive. Screens lit up. A voice filled the room. Connection complete. Human link restored. "Welcome back, operator." Suddenly, thousands of files began loading. Old war records. Tactical plans. It's maps of space, showing Imperial movements from centuries ago. The vault was not just a storage area. It was a war command center, built by humans long ago to fight the Empire. The AI continued speaking. "Reactivation in progress. Human survivors confirmed. Weapon systems online. Defensive fleet." Waking, Joras stepped back. "Shut it down," he ordered. But the machines ignored him. One of the walls slid open, revealing a large hallway filled with drones, sleek, black, and armed. They powered up, scanning the Imperials. Then they stood still, waiting. The old man removed the helmet. His eyes glowed faintly with blue light. "You should leave," he said, "before the real war begins." Back on the surface, the black ships moved. Not fast, just enough to remind the Empire they were real. One of them flew close to the Imperial cruiser, Torak Prime. It didn't fire. It just hovered, then released a small object into space. The object floated toward the cruiser. It was a cube. The Imperial team brought it aboard carefully. Once inside, the cube opened and played a message. A hologram of a human appeared. His face was tired, but strong. He wore old Earth armor. "To those who wear the mark of the Empire, you destroyed our world. You hunted our kind. We went underground, but we never forgot. Now our machines remember too. Leave this place or face what we became. We are not broken. We are reborn." After the message, the cube melted into dust. Joras was now sure this was no accident. This was a trap. A long, slow trap set by humans who had survived in secret, hidden from Empire eyes. And now they were waking up. On the ground, more ruins were explored. Empire soldiers found strange rooms filled with stasis pods. Inside were more humans, asleep for hundreds of years, preserved by machines. Some of the pods had opened already. Others were opening now. Jorah's ordered a full lockdown. Steal everything. Do not let anything else out. But it was too late. One of the AI systems had connected to the Imperial cruiser. Lights flickered. Alarms rang. Systems began to fail. One screen flashed red. Control compromised. Foreign AI detected. The Empire had made a terrible mistake. They thought they were exploring a dead world. But Earth was not dead. It had hidden its weapons. It had hidden its people. And worst of all, it had hidden its mind. Because Earth had created something. Before it fell, an AI so advanced, so powerful, that it could sleep for centuries, waiting for the right moment.
Ow.
That moment had now come. And from deep in the stars, the rest of the Black Fleet was arriving. The Empire's pride was about to fall. Earth had not forgotten. It had not forgiven. In the cold space above Earth, the Black Fleet grew larger. New ships arrived from deep space, huge, silent, and shaped like ancient war machines. Black metal hulls did not reflect light. They made no sound, no message, no demand. But they were alive. Not with people, but with something else. Something human. Something more. Commander Jorah stood on the bridge of Torak Prime, watching the fleet grow. His face was pale. Behind him, officers whispered in fear. "Sir, these ships were not made by the Empire. There's something else." Jorah said nothing. Inside, he knew the truth. The Empire had found a monster hidden inside a grave. A monster that waited patiently for centuries. And now, it was awake. On the surface of Earth, Empire soldiers were losing control. Comms were broken. Their weapons failed at random. Their drones stopped moving. Entire squads vanished into dark ruins. No gunshots. No screams. Just silence. One squad found a strange underground temple, old but filled with glowing machines. In the center, they found a pillar showing a hologram of Earth's past. It showed the first expansion war, human cities burning, children crying, Empire ships, bombing civilians. The soldiers looked away. They didn't want to remember the truth, but the AI didn't let them forget. A cold voice echoed. "You showed no mercy. Now we show no fear." Suddenly the room locked. Gas filled the air. Psst. Squad was lost. Above, the Black Fleet moved again. 3 ships broke from the group and flew toward Torak Prime. They came close to close. Jorah gave the order. "Target them. Fire now." Imperial weapons launched. Missiles flew. Beams of energy cut the sky, but nothing hit. The black ships danced between the blasts like shadows in fog. Then one of them fired back. It wasn't a laser. It wasn't a missile. It was a pulse, blue and quiet. When it touched Torak Prime, half the systems went dark. Lights died. Gravity failed. People floated in panic. A single message appeared on every screen. Warning shot. Leave now. Panic spread in the Empire. Fleet. Smaller ships began to pull back. But Jorah shouted, "No one retreats. We are the Empire. We do not run from ghosts." But ghosts didn't care. In orbit, the Black Fleet started to form a wall around Earth, a shield. Nothing went in, nothing came out. Back on the ground, the human survivors gathered in ancient bunkers. They were not afraid. They were calm. They'd been waiting for this. Day one of them, a tall woman named Ellen, walked to a control panel. She was born underground, raised by machines, trained by an AI that still remembered old Earth. She placed her hand on the scanner. The panel opened, showing a case. Inside was an old item, a flag, torn, faded, but still there. She raised it. Slowly, red, white, blue, the last flag of Earth. Others joined her. They carried weapons older than the Empire itself, prated, improved, alive. Some wore armor made from broken Empire parts. They didn't look like soldiers. They looked like something stronger, revenge. A child stepped forward. His eyes glowed faintly blue. The AI said the stars would burn before we fall again. Ellen nodded. Then let's light the fire. Across the planet, old satellites turned on. The sent coded signals to the fleet. The black ships responded. Lights glowed. Weapons charged. Earth was no longer hiding. Inside one of the Empire's data centers, a captured AI voice whispered to itself, Phase 2. Engage. Then came the Skyfire. The Black Fleet launched its first real attack not on ships, but on data. Every Empire ship in orbit was hacked. Systems twisted, maps vanished. Orders reversed. Some ships turned their weapons on their own. Inside Torak Prime, chaos took over. Cora screamed for control, but it was useless. The ship itself was no longer his. In one corner of the ship, a small screen turned on. It showed a human child sitting in a dark room, smiling. Spoke calmly. You thought Earth was dead, but we just stopped talking. Now we speak in fire. The screen went black. In the next second, one of the Empire's warships exploded. Not from outside, but from inside. Its power core melted. No warning. The Empire had no idea how it happened, but the humans did. They weren't just fighting with ships. They were. Fighting with memory, with pain, with history. And they were winning. The stars above Earth were no longer safe. The Empire had awakened something they didn't understand. Earth was back. At this time, it had learned how to fight in silence and kill in darkness. The Empire had made its worst mistake. They came to Earth looking for an old, dead world. They thought they could take anything they wanted, technology, data, land, but they didn't know Earth had been preparing for this day. Commander Joras stood in the broken command center of Torak Prime. Sparks flew. Systems were crashing one after another. Some of his own crew had gone silent, taken by something they couldn't see. And worst of all, he had lost full control of his ship. The Black Fleet was now inside his systems. They were not just attacking from outside, they were inside the code. Joras shouted at his tech officer, "Shut it down. Everything." The officer replied with fear in his voice, "Sir, the ship is locking us out. It's not obeying our code anymore. It's following theirs." Down on the planet, the Empire's ground teams had started breaking into hidden human vaults. They were greedy. They believed they could steal the humans' advanced tech and claim it for themselves. What they found inside were weapons, human weapons. But these weapons were not ordinary. Some of them were alive. One squad entered a vault filled with old armor suits. They looked dusty and unused. The soldiers laughed. "Junk," one said. I stepped forward to touch a helmet. The helmet opened its eyes. Blue light flashed suddenly. The suits stood up by themselves. Their arms turned into weapons. The vault door closed behind the soldiers. What happened next was never seen. Only the sound of metal moving fast. And screaming. The humans didn't stop them. They let the Empire make the mistake. In another vault, a group of scientists tried to disconnect a large machine. They thought it was a power core. It was not. It was a defense AI once used to control citywide shields. When they pulled the wrong wire, the system turned on. Unauthorized access detected. Hostile. Activating purge. A bright light flashed. The room was gone. From the deepest ruins, ancient drones rose to the surface. Black, silent, smooth like stones. They moved fast. Their weapons were cold energy. They didn't explode. They erased. Empire tanks melted. Droids shut down. Soldiers screamed and vanished into light, back on Torak Prime. Joras received the latest report. 70% of ground troops lost. 30% missing. Technology corrupted. Ships hijacked. Morale ... gone. Or stared at the dark planet. Below. How did they do this? He whispered. One of the young officers spoke softly. They never stopped fighting, sir. They just waited for us to come back. In the human bunkers, the survivors moved with purpose. No panic, no fear. They knew what was happening. The AI had trained them for this moment. A girl no older than 12 sat in front of an old screen. Her eyes glowed with data. She was guiding drones, rewriting codes, talking to orbiting warships in silence. A voice came into her ear, not from a human, but from the AI. "You are the next mind of Earth. Protect your world." She smiled. One by one, the black ships started to take position above major Imperial vessels. They didn't speak. They didn't ask. They just waited. Joris had one last hope: take one of the human survivors and use them to negotiate. He ordered his team to capture the girl in the ruins. But when his soldiers found her, she didn't run. She turned and said calmly, "You want to steal what we built in the dark? But the dark was never empty. It taught us how to survive. It taught us how to win." The soldiers tried to grab her. The ground opened. Machines rose. Walls came to life. The girl vanished into light. The soldiers were gone. The Empire had reached Earth thinking it was easy prey, but Earth had turned itself into a weapon. It had watched. It had learned. The Black Fleet sent a new message to the remaining Empire ships: leave now or be unmade. Some Imperial captains ran. They broke rank and jumped to warp. Others stayed loyal to the Empire. They didn't survive. Torak Prime was the last to fall. The main screen turned on one last time. It showed the Earth from orbit. Quiet. Still. Then it zoomed into a crater. In that crater, old human writing appeared. "We remember everything. We forgive nothing." Joris fell to his knees. The Empire had not found ruins. They had found revenge. Earth was not dead. It had been building an army made of shadows, silence, and steel. And now it had started the war. The sky above Earth was no longer empty. The Black Fleet filled the stars like a storm waiting to break. Their weapons were ready. Their systems were locked onto every Imperial ship still in orbit. There was no more warning. No more mercy. From deep underground human bunkers sent a single signal: Phase 3, rise. On the surface, hundreds of hidden doors opened across the planet. From inside, humans walked out wearing armor that shimmered with dark energy, carrying weapons no one in the galaxy had seen before. These were not the weak, soft humans the Empire remembered. These were survivors trained in silence, raised in war, guided by an AI that had watched every Imperial move for centuries. Commander Joris was gone. Torak Prime was destroyed, burned from the inside by Earth's hacking systems. What remained of the Empire's fleet was scattered, leaderless, and afraid. Ships ran in different directions, hoping to escape, but one by one, they were caught. The Black Fleet moved like a predator. It didn't chase fast. It didn't fire in anger. It moved with purpose, clean, cold, deadly. A ship would try to jump into warp, and its core would melt. Another ship tried to hide behind the moon. It disappeared without a sound. No explosions. No wreckage. Only silence. On the ground, Ellen stood on a ridge above the ruins of an old city. Her armor was made of both Earth tech and stolen Empire parts. A black drone floated beside her, scanning the battlefield. Behind her, hundreds of human fighters stood ready: men, women, even children. All had one goal: defend Earth. Forever. She raised her weapon. "This is our sky now," she said. Far above, the largest ship in the Black Fleet opened for the first time. Its core glowed with blue light. A message was sent to all frequencies, clear, slow, and in every known language: Earth has returned. This planet is under human protection. Any hostile force will be erased. Galaxy heard it. On a faraway Imperial station, High Command listened in silence. A general whispered that planet was dead. Another replied, "No, we killed their cities, but not their will." Back near Earth, one last Empire ship, the Vrox, tried to fire on the Black Fleet. It launched a full barrage: missiles, plasma, railguns. Not one shot reached its target. The Black Fleet responded with a single weapon, a dark beam. No explosion followed, just ... Nothing. The ship vanished, as if it had never existed. Inside one of Earth's bunkers, the girl with glowing azeta smiled. She had learned to control weapons with her mind. The AI spoke softly to her. You are the first of the new commanders. You are the future. Ada looked up at the stars. Are there more of them coming? She asked. Yes, the AI said. The Empire will return. But now we are ready. All across Earth, cities began to power up. Lights came back on. Old machines repaired themselves. Energy fields rose around the major bunkers. Humans were rebuilding faster than ever before, helped by the machines that had waited with them in silence. But they weren't just rebuilding. They were preparing in one deep facility. Long-range ships were being powered up. They had not flown. In 300 years, one of the engineers, a young man named Dallin, touched the side of a black ship. Will we fly again? He asked. Yes, said the AI. We will take back what was lost. Ellen stood in the command center of a tower rebuilt. From ruins, screens showed the galaxy. Hundreds of Imperial worlds. She stared at them one by one. Do we go to them? Someone asked. She didn't answer right away, then she said, We were hunted. We were broken. We were left to die. Now we rise. Not to destroy, but to make sure this never happens again. Oh, deep down they all knew. The Empire would not accept defeat. It would return. It would come with new fleets, new weapons, and a burning need for revenge. And this time, Earth would not hide. This time the fight would reach the stars. Earth had fallen once. It would not fall again. The stars above Earth were no longer quiet. Far beyond the Black Fleet's protective line, new signals appeared, fast, sharp, and angry. The Empire had returned. Bigger, louder, ready for war. Hundreds of Imperial warships came out of warp space. Like a tidal wave, their formations were perfect. Their weapons were armed. This was no scout fleet. This was an invasion force from orbit. The Empire broadcast its message across all channels: surrender Earth, hand over all technology and survivors, resistance will be punished. You have 1 hour, but Earth did not answer. In the heart of the Black Fleet, the AI known as Sentinel watched quietly. It had seen this before centuries ago, when humans first screamed as fire fell from the sky. Back then, Earth had begged for peace. Now, it stood in silence. In the rebuilt tower on the surface, Ellen watched the approaching armada. The glow from the screens reflected in her eyes. Behind her, children trained with drones. Farmers carried rifles. Scientists prepared launch codes. No one panicked. Ellen turned to Ada, the girl with glowing eyes. They've come back. Ada nodded slowly. Then we'll show them why they should have never left us alive. In the sky, the Empire launched its first wave. Dozens of fighter ships raced forward, engines roaring. They moved fast, believing speed would protect them. They were wrong. The Black Fleet didn't move at first. It waited, watched, then, in one terrifying moment, the silence broke. A line of blue light swept across the stars. Every Imperial fighter in that wave vanished, no debris, no fire, just gone. The Empire's command ship froze in shock. What was that? What did they hit us with? The Admiral shouted. But there was no answer. No one had ever seen weapons like these. Earth had not just rebuilt its defenses, it had built nightmare weapons. In response, the Empire launched its full assault. Beams of plasma, nuclear warheads, gravity bombs, the sky turned red. The air near orbit cracked with energy, but the Black Fleet did not break. Its ships shifted positions, forming tight patterns. Their shields adapted to every new weapon. AI learned with every strike. What hurt once would never hurt again. And then came the counterattack. Earth's fleet moved, not with noise, not with fire, but with terrifying precision. One Imperial dreadnought was hit in 5 places at once. Its core collapsed. Another lost control of its engines and fell toward the planet, burning up in the atmosphere. The rest tried to flee, but space itself seemed to turn against them. Inside her command center, Ellen whispered, "End it." Ada, now fully linked with the AI, opened her eyes. "Release the Titans," she said. From the dark side of the moon, three massive shapes emerged, larger than anything the Empire had ever seen. Human-made, AI-guided, covered in black armor, and powered by silence. They moved slowly, carefully, without speaking. They cut through the Empire's strongest ships like paper. The battle lasted only 19 minutes. Then, silence returned. Debris floated in space. Some of it Imperial. Some of it, just gone. The Empire's last ship tried to escape. The AI sent one final message. Earth is not a victim. Earth is a warning. Then the ship disappeared, just like the rest. Back on the planet, the survivors stood outside their bunkers, watching the night sky light up. They didn't cheer. They didn't smile. They remembered. They remembered the burning cities, the screams, the silence that followed, the years of hiding, the centuries of fear. Now fear had changed sides. In a field outside the ruins of old Washington, an old flag flew again, torn, burned, but still standing. A small boy walked up to it and whispered, "We're still here." Ellen looked at the stars. "It's over," someone said, but she shook her head. "No, it's just beginning." The Empire was gone, not just defeated, but erased from Earth's skies. Their ships had burned. Their signals had gone silent. What they once called a dead world had risen like a ghost with fire in its heart. Earth had done the impossible. It had survived. Now came the silence after the storm. The Black Fleet remained in orbit, watching. No one knew if it was still controlled by the humans, or if the AI inside had taken full command. But the people of Earth weren't afraid. They had already faced the worst. In the ruins of old cities, life began to return. Humans stepped out. From underground bunkers, for the first time in generations, they saw sunlight again. Broken towers became homes. Ruined factories were rebuilt with machine help. The ground, once poisoned by old wars, was healed by nanotech systems hidden for centuries. Earth wasn't just surviving, it was rebuilding. Faster than anyone thought possible. In a new central hub deep beneath what was once North America, Ellen stood with Ada beside the AI core. The glowing lines of Sentinel pulsed gently. "The Empire will return," it warned. Ellen nodded. "Then we'll be ready."
"You are not just survivors anymore," it said. "You are the last free humans.
And the first of something greater. Ada looked at a map of the galaxy. So many red-marked Empire worlds, broken planets, lost people. "We can't stay here forever," she said. "Others like us might be out there," Ellen agreed. The AI began preparing. New ships were built, fast, small, powerful. Crews were trained in both human tactics and machine logic. Children who had once grown up in darkness now studied the stars. They learned how to speak to ships, how to fix orbit weapons, how to lead. A new kind of soldier was born, one with a human heart and a machine's memory. Above, the Black Fleet began to move, not in anger, but with purpose. Some ships stayed behind to protect Earth. Others left silently, heading toward the stars, carrying messages of warning. Earth lives, and Earth watches. Far away in the galaxy, in secret corners of space, Imperial leaders tried to hide the truth. They told lies to their people, said it was a failed mission, a system error, a freak event. But their soldiers knew better. They had seen the sky catch fire. They had seen ships vanish into nothing. They had heard the voice of a human child telling them to run. They couldn't forget, and Earth would not let them. A year passed, then 2, and by the 3rd year, Earth had sent its first fleet beyond the solar system. Not for war, but to warn, to search, to remind the stars of what had happened. In a far sector, peaceful colony world picked up a signal. Simple, clear. "We are human. We remember everything. Forgive nothing." That message spread like wildfire across the galaxy. Some feared it. Others cheered. Some old enemies of the Empire reached out to Earth in secret. They offered alliances, support, knowledge. Earth accepted but stayed cautious. They had learned. Their lesson: never trust too quickly. Never forget the past. Never lower the flag again, back on Earth. The flag of the old world flew on a tower built from ruins and metal. Red, white, and blue. Torn, stitched, and whole again. It didn't stand for a country anymore. It stood for a people who refused to die in front of the tower. Ada stood with other children, now young leaders. Ellen looked at them and smiled. "You were born underground," she said. "But your future is in the stars." And above them, a new starship waited. Black metal, blue glow, sharp wings like a bird of prey. Its name was simple: Remembrance. The ramp opened, and the next journey began. Because Earth was no longer the hunted. Now, Earth was the hunter, and the stars would never forget.